Hello, 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 and welcome back to another edition of That Green Vegans podcast. I'm Kelly. Hello. Yesterday I played a older podcast, a throwback, right? And we just talked about manifesting love, and we talked about Tabitha Brown, and that was the only reason. That's the only thing that gave it away because it's an old trending topic, correct? But if you were to take that information, exclude Tabitha Brown, which was a trending topic back then, and replace it with Clarissa Shields, it's the same in Papoose, right? It's the same thing. You will always have the same things happen. There's nothing new under the sun. And it made me realize going through my old podcast that a lot of these subject matters is still good to this day. It's just, you might hear something like, I know I have a couple of episodes that might talk about like hot girl summer. So, that was from 5 years ago. Or that maybe talk about an entanglement, things like that, right? But it's like, those are things and topics and trends that's been around forever, right? And one thing that's been around forever, I think the only thing that changes a lot of time is the verbiage, right? So we're talking about today breadcrumbs, right? And how people give you breadcrumbs, and they give you these breadcrumbs because they just, don't give you too much. Because if you get too much, then you're going to be full, right? You get breadcrumbs, they just like slowly just lead you on. And that is a topic today that I feel like manipulators, they will take you through that, right? And like, I know this one person and they reach out to me. And I know the reason why they reach out to me is because they just want to test the temperature. Because I'm the kind of person I value my time, and so I'm horrible. I'm horrible at, if anybody know me, I'm so horrible at returning calls or, because, I just be having a lot to do. And so I really try my best to corner time. So say, for instance, I'm working here like on my platform, right? And I will make sure that I have time because I just want people to know, like, I read every comment and I try my best to, answer questions, if someone asks me things, because I feel like this. I've always felt like this. If you took the time to leave me a comment, I'm going to take the time to acknowledge that I've seen your comment. I might not be able to write a paragraph, but I'm going to let you know, like, I seen it, because I feel like that's really important kind of thing, right? So please know, if you leave a comment and I don't answer it right away, it's not because, I'm ignoring you or I think I'm all that. No, it's just that, I'm doing life. And that's kind of like the thing with the breadcrumb thing, right? So, actually, it's two different topics, but I'm gonna put it in because I feel like they're both important. So you have the person who is just so needy for attention, right? This person is just low self-esteem and it's like, look at me, I need attention, right? And so that is like a manipulator's a dream, right? Because they love that. They love the attention, right? They get off on it. So what they'll do, because they know that scarcity is currency. When you give yourself too much, people don't respect it. They don't respect it. When you're always if they call you and you always pick up the phone on the first ring, or you text them and you text them back and stuff, they know that you're going to be around for them. And they just like, okay, I ain't got to pour into this person, but this person over here, they're not giving me all that attention. Right. So they're more intrigued with the person who, doesn't give them what you're giving them, right? Because they know, oh, you're going to be there. So I don't have to worry about you, right? And then here comes the breadcrumbs. Every so often, it's like, hey, I'm how you doing? And then that person's like, oh, that's like a breadcrumb, because it's like they're taking any kind of crumbs from that person. But the person over here, they're getting these long texts, and they're getting voice notes, and they're getting videos, and they're getting, what else did they do? DMs. They're getting all this stuff poured into them, and they're just sitting back and they're just loving it. But then what happens a lot of times is that, it goes both ways. So now the person who's a manipulator, who's pouring into this person, and that person is just like deleting messages. And that's why I say I circle back to like the messages. Because if you leave a message, I might not get it that day. Might get it the next day, but I'm going to see it, and I'm going to, acknowledge it, kind of thing. Whereas people take you for granted. So I know that there's people out there that will leave a message under a post, or maybe even leave a DM. And then if that person doesn't respond within, whatever delusional time set they have in their mind, then they're going to delete it, right? Because it's like, no, I'm going to punish you because you didn't. And then the person, it's all a really effed up game inside. And if people just was honest with each other and just really said their intentions and how they felt, we wouldn't have to play these games. And this is crazy because these are grown. We grown. This is not, I can see if you in a middle school, elementary school, but we're talking about grown people playing these childish games. When you value your time, when you value your space, when you value who you are and know your worth, you don't care. So, if a person leave a comment and I don't see it right away because, I have a life. I'm reading books. I'm drinking water. I'm going to the gym. I'm working. I'm spending time with friends. I'm going to events. I'm going to different lectures and conferences and, whatever. Right? That takes time. And if people can't understand that you have a life and you don't respond to them instantly and stuff, well, this is the thing that's really, really crazy, right? So you have a person, they'll leave a message, right? And then they will delete it. Well, if you have a whole life, you would never know that even existed, right? But if you're on certain apps, it will show that it's deleted. And people do that on purpose because they want you to know you missed out on something, right? And for some people, they're like, okay, and then some people, it really bothers in their soul. And if you tell a person like, hey, don't do that, and they continue to do that, they're showing you right there that they don't respect you. But you have to understand, the internet is not real life. This is, I call it troll land, right? It's not real. It's not real. So even though this is, a platform where you can get like really caught up in, and yeah, it can be a positive thing where you meet people and you get information and you just kind of chillax, right? But then at the same time, don't let it affect you to the point where you are like spazzing out or just getting so invested and holding on to other people. Look, let me tell you, you can't expect a person to fill your cup. No. You have to fill your cup. I always tell people that, and I try to give them encouragement to go outside, to do things, to meet real people, to touch grass. Like those things are like super important, right? And I always worry about people because I know there are people that just literally almost 24/7 just be online because they have no lives. And you know what? The thing about it too is that when the more that you stay on life, the more that you stay online, the more you are setting yourself up for failure because you are now delusional about how the real world works, right? And then you can't even relate with people because you don't know how to, because you're so quick to I'm okay. I'm gonna give an example for the trolls. So, there are trolls out here, right? There's good trolls and bad trolls, but some trolls are just evil and they just go out and they just really try to tear you down, right? Why? Because you are the light and they're gravitated towards the light. I don't know if you guys remember that movie, The Poltergeist. Go check that movie out. But they stole that little girl in the movie. And what was that? What was her name? Oh, that was going to drive me crazy. I had to stop and find out. Caroline. That was in the movie Portuguese. Caroline. So the part when he's like, Caroline, go into the light. Go into the light. But that's how it is. You are the light, and people out here, a lot of people are dark and they're like demons and they're in this really dark world, right? And here you are the light and they are drawn to you, right? But then what happens is they can't get to you. So because they can't get to you, they will do things and say things to you to try to make you dark, right? So they can pull you into their misery. Ooh, did I say a word? Can somebody relate today? So what you need to do is you just need to stay as far, far, far into the light, vibrate really high, because once you vibrate high, they can't touch you when you're high. No, because they're so low, right? They're low and they're dark. You are light and you are high, and it pisses them off. But you're going to see a whole new world out there when you're like that, right? And so some of the things that you can do to stay out of the darkness is stay away from certain people, right? Stay away from certain people, certain situations. And just you have to build yourself up. You got to build yourself up, and you have to make sure that you are in a really, really, really good space, because once you're in a really good space, you're going to start attracting people like you, people that vibrates high. And this is going to be amazing, right? I know someone, not personally, but a troll, and they're just so dark. And it just gets to the point where I don't say nothing. Like, you have to ignore them. You got to ignore them. You got to ignore the trolls, because the trolls are, like I said, they'll try to suck you into their stuff, right? So you can't, and oh my goodness. And the reason why I'm going to use myself as an example, because I don't want to let you go through what I went through, but I actually engage with some trolls, and it was really hard. It was really hard. It was really dark. I let it really, bother me. But now, I was able to walk away from that situation. I was able to pour into myself. Now I'm to the point where it doesn't, like, when I see them, I don't engage with them. You know what I'm saying? Because I look at myself, right? And it's like, wow, I see why they feel the way they do, why they feel like they need to attack me. And that's another thing. You have to let stuff go. Remember that movie, Frozen. Oh my God, I love that. I was an educator back then, so I used to hear them songs. Was just, but it had a really great message. Let it go, let it go. And I'm like, yes, you do have to let it go, kind of thing. And yeah, once you let it go, you'll just realize that stuff was holding you down, right? So just think, you got all this baggage, you got all this weight, and you're down. And then once you let all that stuff go, you're lighter, you're freer, and you can travel. Let me tell you, it's crazy. When I remember it was me and my friend, we was traveling and we went to what was that? St. Louis, right? They lost our luggage. And we were like, oh my goodness. And they were like, oh yeah, well, we can't find it, whatever. They ended up giving us like money and stuff like that. And so we didn't have our luggage. So we were like, okay, well, we had to go get some items, whatever. So we just grabbed the backpack. We grabbed a couple of items and everything like that. But we were gone. It was so funny. We was like traveling like all over St. Louis, and we got to go to the Arch, and we went to these restaurants, and we went to this like Old Town. We got to see that it was like a comedy. It was like a comedy. It was an improv show. We went to that. It was just amazing. How, okay. So just to let you guys know, like, what was you doing? So we ended up going to St. Louis. And so then our plane got, or we got kicked off our plane, or it got delayed. Something happened to the point where we had to stay, right? But just being able to like not have all those suitcases with us and just have our backpacks, we were able to just travel so freely, and we experienced all these things, right? And I always say, rejection is God protection, right? Because I think at the time we were on our way to Chicago? I forgot where we were on our way, but we got to see St. Louis. We got to, go to all these really great places. We got to stay the night there. And then the next day when we went when we went back to the airport and we got on our plane flight, whatever, our luggage was waiting for us. So it was almost like that was meant for us to happen. Now we could have been like, pissed off. And, there was people that actually stayed in the airport the whole They stayed in the airport the whole time, hoping to get like, another flight, whatever. So just to let you know, this was back in the day. They didn't have like the flights they have like now. And they didn't have all these different airlines either. You had like 5 airlines that you had to choose from. But anyway, I say, that old saying, when life gives you lemon, give them, make lemonade. It's so true. So we took a situation that could have been and we just made the best of it. And it was so much fun, and we had a beautiful time. And that's an experience that, I'll never forget, kind of thing. And it just kind of fell upon our lap. So, someone who is miserable in the dark, they would have been at the airport, just waiting and just miserable. Because when we came back to the airport, those people still there. And, I understand like there's certain situations and stuff like that. But it's just like, I don't like nowadays in my rural life, I just don't take stuff personal like that anymore. If something happens, it's like, okay, it happens. What's the lesson in this? Okay, next. Because when you take stuff and you just let it fester and stuff like that, that's what makes you sick. You can't do you cannot control what you can't control, right? So when you're going through life, just control what you can control and experience life, and stop giving all your time to people that don't deserve it. Scarcity is the word of the day. Pour into you, make yourself first. Don't always be so available. You're going to see when you're not so available to people, they're going to appreciate it more, because they're going to be like, damn, I took that for granted. Now look at me. Like, they're going to be looking crazy. Big time. I hope you got something out of this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. Somebody was telling me in the comments, like, it's kind of dark, Caroline. I ain't dark. I ain't dark. But, sometimes we have to listen to messages that we might not, it might not be so fun and fluffy and friendly. Sometimes we got to take our medicine, and medicine is not always good, but it will make you better. And if no one's told you today that they love you, I love you. Go out and be great. Bye.